Hey there, it's Wedding Tips for Wow Factor Wednesday. You know, Wednesdays actually used to be my least favorite day of the week. We still had so many days until the weekend. But now, I love Wednesdays because we get to spend some time together. I'm Steve Moody, and I want to help you have the best wedding ever. I've been in the wedding industry since 1989 and have personally helped over 2,500 couples create amazing, one-of-a-kind weddings. So let's take that experience and we'll combine it with some helpful tips from some of my favorite local wedding pros, along with some insight from my previous brides and grooms. We'll mix it all together and come up with the perfect recipe to bring the extra wow factor to your wedding day. Now, we've got a lot to talk about, so let's get started. We have spent so much of our time together in all these podcasts talking about things that you can do to make your wedding day better. Now, today we're going to kind of come at it from a different angle because there are some things that folks do that they don't even realize that they're doing something wrong, and they're sabotaging their own wedding day. Unintentionally, but still the same, sabotaging their own wedding day. So I wanted to share a few stories with you of some things that have happened over the years in hopes that maybe you might keep them in mind so that you don't allow the same thing to happen on your special day. I think one of the biggest things that we can talk about is that there are certain couples, and you have probably been to weddings like this and you've seen it yourself, certain couples that try to cram too many activities in too short of a time period. Have you ever seen that? This is just an example. So we'll go in, we'll do the grand introductions and, introduce all the members of the wedding party and the parents and the bride and groom. They'll do their first dance. And then the bride says, okay, well, I also want to dance with my dad. We'll do it right now, right after that. So everybody's still standing there. And then the groom's going to dance with his mom. And now I'm going to dance with my uncle. And now he's going to dance with his grandmother. And now, rather than go right to the meal, even though people are kind of starving, we've got 8 toasts that we're going to do. We've got 8 different speeches. So we're going to hear from a few different people. Well, now something that, could have been 10 to 15 minutes long has almost taken an hour now. And so by the time people do get fed, it's like the natives are restless. They're ready to move on to the next thing. And I think about, once the party gets started and the dancing gets started later on in the evening, there's also been couples that have said, okay, well, we did all the formalities earlier, but I want you to, every couple minutes, I want you to stop the music because we want to take pictures with people that I went to high school with, and then another group picture of the people we went to college with and that were in our fraternities and sororities. And then I want pictures. Please stop the music again because I want pictures from people on the dad's side of the family and my mom's side of the family. And then also on the groom's mom's side and the groom's father's side. And so these are all great special activities. However, in the middle of the dancing portion of your night, it really puts, kind of throws a wrench into the works. Let's say it that way. Now, playing the devil's advocate in this, there are some weddings where folks do know in advance, hey, my family is not very lively. I don't expect them to do much dancing. Our wedding is in the middle of the afternoon. It's going to be hot outside. And so these are some activities we can do just to get through the day. However, if you are a couple that is looking forward to having your family members and friends up on the dance floor and partying together, cramming too many of these activities all in the same time period really can hamper your plans on your wedding day and really sabotage things. What sort of other things accidentally go wrong from time to time? Well, we have seen that people have asked or invited the wrong people to speak at their wedding reception or the wrong person to give a toast. And oh my gosh, the things that it can lead to. We've seen people get up and either intentionally or unintentionally embarrass the bride or embarrass the groom, say things that should not have been said, use language that should not have been used. For example, most couples, they want to have maybe their best man and their maid of honor give a speech. If, however, you know that that's asking for trouble, rather than do that, why not ask your favorite uncle to come up and say a few words at your wedding reception, or your favorite aunt, maybe your grandfather, to come up and share a few words in the form of a toast, rather than put somebody on the spot that you know is not comfortable doing it. And being comfortable is also a big part of it. There's been times over the years where, we'll see somebody that has asked a sister or a brother to come up and speak, and my gosh, their hands are shaking, the paper is shaking, they feel like they're going to be sick, and it's an awful experience to watch and to be a part of. So rather than put someone through it that doesn't want to do it, my gosh, there are so many other people attending your wedding reception that would probably love to have an opportunity to come up and speak on your wedding day. So just talk to them in advance. So anyone that you think would be uncomfortable speaking at your wedding reception, or anybody that you might be uncomfortable with, worrying about the things that they're going to say, just keep them out of it on that wedding day. Some of our other unintentional sabotages of weddings have been just due to the fact that people didn't realize how long their wedding should be. I would say, doing 200 and some weddings a year here with our company, the vast majority of the wedding that we do are 5 or 6 hours long. So it's a ceremony, a cocktail hour, and a reception runs 5 or 6 hours. And that's the way that most venues locally sell their packages, for a 5 or 6 hour period. However, I know many folks decide to have their wedding at someone's private property, maybe a private waterfront home, and they don't know how long to make their party. And they say, oh, geez, well, we could go on forever with it. So let's, we'll start at 2 p.m. and we'll go till 2 a.m. Well, a 12-hour wedding ceremony and reception is a bit much. Oh my goodness. Think about when we go out to celebrate somewhere. Let's just say we go dinner and a movie, and then we go home, right? So that's maybe 5 hours, 6 hours, and we're done for the night. By the time people have sat through the ceremony, especially if it's been outside in the heat, in the bright sunlight, and then they go in and they have dinner, they're ready to dance for maybe 2.5 hours after dinner, and then they're ready to go home. You don't want folks looking at their watch all night long or picking up their cell phone just to see what time it is all night long. You want everybody to be engaged and have a great time. I would so much rather people leave saying, oh my gosh, I could have partied all night. I wish it could have went on all night. I would rather them leave like that and leave on a high note and leave on a bang than people be looking at that time all night long and wondering, oh man, how much longer is this? And something else to keep in mind, if you are having your wedding on private property and you don't have a time limit, you can go as late as you want, you don't necessarily need to pay your entertainment to be there that long. Once you're you go in, you have your introductions, all of those formalities, you're dancing. Once all that's done, if you're just thinking your guests are going to, sit around or hang out by the bar all night and, just drink for 4 or 5 hours after the main part of the party, there's no reason to hire a DJ for the entire portion. I mean, it's totally up to you. We would love to work with you and make money, obviously, but it just doesn't seem like it makes sense to have, to pay for us to be there entertaining if there's only 20 or 30 people left and they're not even really dancing. They're just kind of hanging out. There's no reason that you can't have a playlist on your iPad hooked up to a speaker, or your iPhone hooked up to a speaker and playing music in the background. But to have us there for that long of a period, oh my gosh, there's so many nights people are like, wow, how long is this thing going to go on? The element of time is really crucial in your wedding day, not just in that example, but also, your wedding guests, when you leave them sitting for too long of a period, they're ready to do the next thing. So, you've had your ceremony and they've sat through that, and then you've had a cocktail hour, and during cocktail hour they're all waiting for their meal. So you finally get to the meal, they finish their meal, and now they're ready to move on to that next step. And many times, couples that we work with are like, oh, well, we just need, just give us 20 more minutes, or just give us another half hour because we want to take these pictures or those pictures. Well, your guests get restless, and then some of them do start to leave. So, we are the ones that are kind of standing in the background watching the whole thing and watching the guests. We're the ones that are hearing from the guests, hey, when are you going to pick things up? And to have to tell them, well, we do need to wait for the bride and groom to come out and do their first dance, or we do need to wait for the bride to come out and dance with her dad before, we start the open dancing of the night. So just something to keep in mind. Timing is so crucial on your wedding day. And building on that, you never want to leave your wedding for an extended period of time. We've mentioned that in other podcasts as well. Some couples leave to go on like a photo shoot for an hour, or I told you in a previous podcast about the one couple that the bride's dad had purchased a horse and buggy for them to ride around, but they left their reception for almost an hour, hour and a half, something like that. And so by the time they came back, so many of their guests had left. You are the star on your wedding day, and your guests want to be with you. That's why they're there. So if you leave, they wind up leaving as well. Now, I'm going through my notes here and reading some of the things that I have written down from over the years of doing all these weddings, and looking at some other ways that people have accidentally sabotaged their own wedding days. And a lot of the situations that we have seen over the years actually involve the music. If you were inviting people to celebrate with you on your wedding day, you want to play stuff that everybody enjoys. Now, there are some couples that we work with, and they say, "Hey, you know what? This is for us. I'm inviting people, but I don't care what they want. It's my wedding day." And so, if that's you and that's how you are, then that's fine. But if you are interested in keeping the guests happy and keeping them on the dance floor, we want to play songs that are for everybody, and songs that will get everybody up and keep them partying on your wedding day. I always tell people, even when I'm given full reign on music, some people have seen me at weddings and they're like, "Wow, we just want you to come. We just want you to play, our special songs that we have listed for our special activities. And then, we just want you to fill the dance floor all night long. That's what we want. We've seen you do it. Do it." Even when I have full reign like that and I'm able to play the songs on my own and not play from a whole list of requests, I'm still playing to the people that are dancing. I'm never forcing anything on anyone. I see if a certain group is dancing to a certain style of music, we play that. And then if another group I see is dancing to something, we go back to that. So I'm always watching everybody and playing to them rather than force feeding them music. Like if you go to a nightclub or something, it's almost like you're forced to dance to whatever that they have pre-planned on their set list. But weddings are very different in that we cater to, or I cater to, our DJs cater to the crowd that's there if given the opportunity. And something else that you might want to keep in mind is as far as the music and the sound system, we all have certain family members and certain friends that might be more sensitive to the volume of the music. And even though, I've never been accused of playing loud, there are certain folks that just don't want to sit next to a sound system. And in fact, a lot of older couples, we'll do events that are open to the public from time to time. And when older couples come in, if they have the ability to choose their own seats, many times they sit far away from us because they want to be able to sit with their family members and talk. They don't think they're going to be up and be dancing. So kind of keep that in mind. I know you might think, well, as a courtesy or as an honor to grandma or grandpa or your great uncle or your great aunt, you want to sit them right in the front. But man, just try to think about keeping them away from wherever the speakers are placed. So away from the dance floor, so that they don't feel that, they're uncomfortable during your wedding reception. You want to seat folks close to the dance floor and close to the speakers that you think are going to be the ones that are going to get up and party. Now, I want to give you one final tip in this podcast, and I know that some of you are going to hear this and you are going to roll your eyes or you're going to snicker, but this is true. This has actually happened. Many couples before the ceremony, the guys might hang out, with the groom, and all the bridesmaids are hanging out with the bride before things start, and everybody's snacking and everybody's drinking. And from time to time, folks might have an alcoholic beverage. Keep this in mind. If you choose to drink an alcoholic beverage before your ceremony, do not let your wedding officiant know about it. Do not let your minister know about it. We have seen at several weddings over the years where the minister has actually refused to marry the bride and the groom because they had had a few drinks before the ceremony. So I guess I don't know whether it was something within their church doctrine or maybe something that they were following within a specific state, saying that you cannot be married if you are intoxicated or if your blood alcohol content is of a certain level, and they have no way of checking that, so they have not done the ceremony. So something just to keep in mind. So if you do have a drink in your hand, do not flaunt it in front of the wedding officiant or the minister that's going to be marrying you on your wedding day, because they might tell you that they're not able to do it. I think that we can all agree that everybody wants to have a phenomenal wedding day. So these are just a few things that I can share with you that I have seen other people accidentally do at their weddings and have really caused problems. So hopefully you'll keep them in mind and make sure that it's not an issue at your wedding. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with me. It's always great to have you here. Remember, if you'd like to help out by supporting this podcast, well, leave a few kind words for us on iTunes, Google Play, or any other podcast network, wherever you listen. Also, be sure to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. Each week always brings new ideas, tips, and tricks to help bring the wow factor to your wedding. Again, I'm Steve Moody, owner of Steve Moody's Entertainment Connection, located on Maryland's Eastern Shore. We're the area's most reviewed, most referred, and most awarded wedding DJ service. You can find us on Wedding Wire and The Knot, as well as our website at stevemoody.com. On Facebook, Steve Moody's Entertainment Connection, and on Instagram, Steve Moody's Wedding DJs. Most importantly, if you have enjoyed our time together, please let your friends know about it. Comment, like, review, and most importantly, share on your favorite social media outlets. Thanks again for hanging out.